In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the oil pan on your Honda Accord. This will be located on the bottom of the engine. Let's get started. Using a 17mm wrench, we're going to break the oil plug free from the drain pan. Before removing this plug, be sure you have a collection bucket under you. Remove the oil plug. To have the oil drain faster, remove the oil cap. I like to put this in the hood latch so you can't go anywhere without putting it back. Also pull the dipstick out. Our oil plug has a reusable gasket on it. If you have the paper kind, you're going to want to remove that and then install the new one. Be sure that it's not stuck on the pan. Now that our oil's done draining, we're going to install the drain plug. Using two 13mm, we're going to remove the 3 nuts and bolts for the exhaust pipe in the rear. There should be 2 14mm bolts on this exhaust hanger bracket. They'll be on either side. Go ahead and remove those now. Ours are missing. Remove the 3 nuts for the exhaust pipe in the front using a 14mm socket. Using a 14mm socket, remove the 3 nuts off the studs. This right here was a bolt for us. Once this last nut comes off, the exhaust is going to want to come down. Be sure you have a hand on it to catch it. Remove the exhaust off all the studs and remove it from the vehicle. Using a 12mm socket, remove the bolt for the hanger. Using a 14mm socket, remove the 2 bolts going through the bottom of the pan into the transmission. Remove the 2 10mm bolts for the torque converter plate. Remove the plate. Using a 10mm socket or wrench, we're going to go around and remove the 18 bolts for the oil pan, starting on the crank side. I'm not going to fully remove this bolt, I'm going to leave it loose. I'm going to leave this bolt just loose as well. We're going to do the same thing in the back. Get the 2 under that torque converter cover. These 2 bolts are longer than the rest. We're going to leave some of these bolts loose so when we crack the pan free, it doesn't just want to fall. It'll get caught by the bolts. There's going to be lips on the pan on either side, butted up against the transmission. We're going to use these to pry on, pull the pan down. It's secured with RTV. Remove all of the bolts. Before removing the oil pan, be sure you have a collection bucket under you. Using a pry bar, we're going to pry on one of the ears and break the sealant on the pan. And remove the pan. Using a razor blade, we're going to go around and remove all of the old gasket material. And clean up this pan surface. Go around doing this around the whole surface. Once you're done scraping, take some parts cleaner on a clean rag and go around the whole outside, wiping away any oil residue. We have our new pan. We're going to wipe this down with some brake parts cleaner, get any residue that might be on it off. Using RTV, we're going to put a bead around the whole pan, traveling on the insides of the holes. We're going to wipe our mating surface one more time, getting rid of any drips that may have occurred. Install the oil pan up into place. Line up the dowels in the back. Get a few bolts started. I like to do this on a few corners. I'm going to snug the bolts I have installed up to the pan. You see, as we tighten the bolts down, you'll get a nice squeeze out. We're looking for this around the whole pan. Go around installing all of the bolts. All of our long bolts are going to be located up here near the transmission. There'll be 2 here, 2 up here, and 2 more in the back to match. Torque the bolts to 8.7 foot-pounds, following the pattern that I go. Install the bolts into the transmission through the oil pan. Torque them to 28 foot-pounds. Install the torque converter cover. Get the bolt started. Torque the bolts to 8.7 foot-pounds. Install the exhaust bracket. There should be another 12mm bolt right here, but our hanger is broke. Torque the bolt to 16 foot-pounds. We're going to go through and clean all 3 flanges for our exhaust on the pipe and engine side, and then we will also do the same on the pipe we removed. You can use a wire brush or a whizzer wheel and get them nice and clean. Install the gaskets onto the studs on the front and back. I'm going to angle it so it stays up there. Install the exhaust up, get it onto the studs. I'm going to get my nut started in the front. Torque the nuts going to the 2 cats to 40 foot-pounds. Do the same thing on the rear bank. Torque the rear flange bolts to 25 foot-pounds. If you can't get a torque wrench on it, do the best you can. If you used a bungee cord, remove that now. Double check that the new drain plug is torqued to 28 foot-pounds. Fill the oil using the manufacturer's specified oil to the manufacturer's specified amount. Install the oil cap. Get it snug. Push the dipstick down into place, pull it out, wipe it off. Check one more time. We're going to make sure this oil is within these hash marks. This top line is full, the bottom line is minimum. There's about a quart in between. Our oil level is good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.